Before watching the ATG Split Squat, I want you to understand the progression. First off, the undercut to the ATG Split Squat itself is the Patrick Step Up, meaning there's nothing wrong. On Mondays, we use the Patrick Step Up. There's nothing wrong with stopping your direct knee work there. You don't have to rush into the ATG Split Squat. The more you build that ankle range and knee strength, the easier the split squat becomes. So you don't have to rush into it. Now, as you go, you will want to get into that for the fullest knee benefits. And the lowest entrance point to the ATG Split Squat itself is elevating your front foot about a foot high and using assistance, doing 4 sets of 5 each leg to warm up, followed by 1 set of 25 or burnout, meaning you won't necessarily get to 25, but with just body weight alone, 25 reps is amazing. And you could take this all the way to flat ground with no weights, and you could actually get about the same strength as a standard split squat just by doing the 4 sets of 5 followed by 1 set of 25. So you can take that all the way to flat ground. Now, at any point along the way, if you're comfortable, you can add dumbbells. For some people who are tighter but stronger, it may actually help them to add weight. Either way, you're doing your 4 sets of 5 to warm up. That can mean for you now trying to get deeper down, adding weights. This is a very mobile process where you're working your way over time all the way to flat ground and working to where you can hold 25% of your weight each hand for 5 reps. So you would still take this to burnout. Maybe you go up to 10% each hand on a 4-inch box and you get 13 reps. Either way, on that 5th set, you need to actually go to a really good muscular challenge. And again, over time, this might look like now body weight, 10% each hand, 15, 20, and finishing with 25% each hand, taking short breaks. As the weight goes up, you'll need more breaks. The less weight, the less breaks you need, but you can always take short breaks because since it's 1 leg at a time, but the back leg is still working, it's actually more tiring than it sounds to just go back and forth. So you can always take short breaks between sides on the ATG Split Squat. Once you can do that flat ground 25% per hand, it's enough for most people to protect your knees, but in certain cases, if you really want world-class legs and world-class knee protection, then you're not only gonna wanna be on flat ground, but work that ankle now down towards flat. And if you're gonna be going this route, I recommend wearing Olympic weightlifting shoes, which you'll see in this video, and that is gonna give your foot a really flat base. It's also gonna put the weight up to actually give you more ankle stretch, and you're gonna use a bar on front position. Dumbbells can get really heavy to hold once you go past a certain point. Bar on back is too freaky if you have to ditch the bar, whereas on front, you can still get out of the movement easily. And instead of the 5 sets working up to your best, you're gonna do 7 sets, but only 3 reps per set. So long term, the world-class number, 100% of body weight for 3, so you could warm up to that roughly body weight, 20%, 40, 60, 80, and then as you get into the heavier sets, taking smaller jumps, 90 and 100. But that's a long-term progression, and wherever you start on that route, working up with the bar on front, you would simply go to a 7th set, and you would take that 7th set to muscular failure. So the common theme with any of these is that you're not working through pain, you're only going as low as your mobility actually allows, which you'll see, and then you're only going as heavy as you can do pain-free. And on that last set, either 5 sets in this here or 7 sets here, you're gonna go until your muscles have been challenged and you won't be able to perform more reps with perfect form. So let's dive into it now and see what this all looks like. So you just finished your Patrick step-ups, and if you're not feeling this, you don't have to get into it, but you will get to a point where you can get into this and it'll feel good to do so. That's what we wanna find. I got here to about a 1 foot high step, and I'm gonna use something to assist myself. So I can use this on the inside. I can put this foot here, and then as I go down, I can put more weight here so I can get that range, and I can push as much as I need with that arm. Now as we get more technical, notice as I go down, I lift my heel so I can get the full knee range of motion. Over time, we wanna get the full knee range of motion first, and then we'll actually start progressing. Once we have enough weight, that's when you start progressing your heel to the floor. You need that higher amount of weight to really be able to stretch it. Otherwise, you can kind of stay going nowhere. Meaning, if your ankles are tight and you only go as far as you can, you may never get that full knee strength that you need to then get to the very amount of weight that actually will stretch your ankle enough. So right here, I could do 4 sets of 5 to warm up. And notice from this position, notice the back knee. If the back knee touches the floor, that means not enough weight is forward, and it means you're not fully stretching your hip flexors, and you may be assisting with the back leg. So a simple measurable, if your back knee doesn't touch, you can't help that much. It gives you a measurable to ensure the front leg is doing the job. So you could do your 4 sets of 5 like this, and then you would go on that 5th set, you would go to burnout, ideally getting to 25 reps. And to be clear, I mean, doing 25 reps flat ground alone is about as much strength as it takes to do the standard. So it's pretty cool what you can achieve with body weight alone. Some other little tips, it's almost like you're standing on train tracks. So you're not trying to do this on a tightrope. It's almost like you're on train tracks here. So you're a nice hip width stance. You're just hip width stance, spread apart. So this is the position you're gonna be in without that back knee touching the floor. That's an ATG split squat, and you can see how you can get into it here with assistance. And if you just look from a flexibility point of view, notice how much flexibility this position takes versus here in the same position. So it takes less. Imagine if I was on flat ground, it takes more flexibility as you go lower. But that also, don't be discouraged if you can do a certain amount of reps or weight higher. You're not weaker when you go lower. It actually puts, instead of being in an easier position, it puts more weight on that front leg itself. So the last little tip, sometimes people don't realize, is that when you do a set of split squats, you don't go down and then start back over. You stay, you find your position, and you stay in that position. And it may take a little practice to know if you go too close, it's just not gonna work. If you go too far away, you're not gonna get there. It just takes a little practice to find that position where you now, notice my back toes are not rolled over. My back toes are still down. My back knee's not touching. Front hamstrings cover the calves. So it just takes a little practice to get used to that position. But that is how you can get right into a split squat from the lowest entry point. No gym equipment, no weights. Now let's look at the further progression with dumbbells to the standard and then beyond to world class. So 80% of the time, I want you able to do a flat ground split squat before you add weight. But some guys who are stronger but tighter will actually need, when they are elevating the front foot, they will need some weight to pull them down. So I'm not saying you can't add dumbbell until you're flat ground. Usually it's best to get to flat ground before adding dumbbell. So it just looks as simple as that. You hold the weights at your sides and it's the exact same exercise. And now once that is 25% of your weight, each hand, these are in kilos at our gym. So this, you can see 25% of weight each hand, the form doesn't change, and I can do my 5 reps there with perfect form. At that point, that is the standard. That puts you already in the 1% of protected knees, but depending on your sport, we may go further. So let's take a look at the barbell aspect. Now, if you look at my footwear, I do recommend Olympic weightlifting shoes. Take a look at the heel of this shoe. It's designed for maximum strength and balance on the ground. So if you're gonna be going into heavier weight, so going beyond 50% of body weight with the dumbbells total, with a bar, then I do recommend Olympic weightlifting shoes. And I want you to take a look at something, which is at the bottom of that squat with this shoe, I can lean as much weight as I want on there and still get a crazy ankle stretch. The nature of the exercise, bar on front without the back knee touching, you really can't cheat it. Whereas a squat, someone could use the heel to cheat. You could do a squat with great form as well. But with the split squat, there's no cheating it when you're in this bar on front position. You can also see that with bar on back, there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but what happens if you drop that bar? Not a position I want to be in. Whereas bar in front, boom, you can get out of it super easily. So the main progression of dumbbell to bar in front, it allows you to handle more weight with more intention on your legs rather than having to hold crazy heavy dumbbells. You could go beyond 50% total load with dumbbells. Bar just makes it a little easier, and it does add a next level of strictness. And you will notice as you start to go down on your first reps with the bar, it may actually feel heavier. And that's because the center of gravity is higher. So when you're holding your dumbbells and the center of gravity is lower, it's easier to balance. So first workout, you may notice, oh wow, this is tougher. That bar on front, you may notice, oh wow, this is tougher. So I have to make it extra strict. If you're gonna be, more power, more weight, we have to make it more strict. So I will then show you here, we've just moved into the studio, but I will finish this out with a clip of what world class looks like, which is gonna be 100% of my body weight with the same full range of motion. You're gonna notice the progression from heel lifted, so from the full knee range to then that weight sinking me down and getting that full ankle range, heel to the floor as well. So thank you for watching this video, and finish out by taking a look at this world class ATG split squat.